fine. You know,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're entertaining me, that's what I care about.
Yeah.
I think it's a tough one. And going back to when you said, you know, people playing wrestlers, I totally agree with you. And the biggest fear of all is your audience will see through it a lot more than what you'll do. The amount of times I've sat there at a show and I've looked at someone and I thought, I don't believe who you are. You know, I can remember. So going back to when I went to watch All Star at Butlins, I saw a few people getting autographs with a lot of the guys afterwards, and I can remember seeing Drew McDonald standing around the back, and I really wanted to go up to him and shake his hand and ask for his autograph, but I was too scared because I genuinely believed that he was this Highlander from hell persona, you know, and. But looking back, I never met Drew, God bless him. I think honestly that's one thing that's missing these days. There are some out there, you know. There are some out there that I'd look at them and I think, yeah, you're the real deal, you know. But there is a lot out there. I think, yeah, you're just kind of prancing around and you know, just in a pair of kick pads and stuff like that. But that's not being controversial or anything like that. That's just an opinion.
No.
I love this business, and it does have to change. But I know what I like, and I would love to see more of what I like. But that's not going to be happening anytime soon. But but I think people just need to be given a chance. I think the great thing about some wrestling shows is when you've got veterans that are on the shows. And they're and if they're watching what you're doing, if they're really impressed with you, they want to help you as much as they can. So if you've got a veteran or a legend that's giving you feedback, whether it's good or bad, take that criticism. I can remember. I'll give you the story. Actually, I remember. So this was in the early days of WrestleForce. This was when WrestleForce was owned by Charlie Rage.
Right.
And we did a show at the Harlow Playhouse, and I think it was the last one that he did there. And I was so disheartened, and I knew in my heart of hearts that I wasn't really putting that much effort into what I was doing. And I can remember Jace the Ace just tearing one out on me for not, always give it 100%. Always give it 100%. Jace, I just want to say this as well, because I feel like I should mention this as well. Jace, as I call him, my wrestling dad, because he was one of the guys that looked after me when I first kind of started becoming an announcer and stuff, and he would take the time to stand there in the wings and just watch me how I'd be an announcer, and then pull me aside afterwards and say, why don't you try it like this, why don't you do this, why don't you do that, don't do this, do that. And and sometimes you think you feel a little bit disheartened, but he was doing it just to try and make you better. And I think
of course,
some people have to take criticism. I think a lot of people are too worried that, they think I'm terrible. No, they don't think you're terrible. They just want to help you get better. How are you going to get better if you don't make mistakes? I make mistakes every day. No one's perfect. We never stop learning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, when you talk about characters, like you say, there are some really good ones out there that definitely live it. I mean, one name that always springs to my mind is Paul Robinson.
Yes.
And from experience, the amount of I've had the fortunate or unfortunate, however you look at it, of traveling to shows with him in a car. And trust me, if there's anyone I'm still pretty much scared of, it's Paul Robinson.
I love Paul. I've got a funny story about Paul, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people talk about heels today, like whether it upholds, but I mean, he's somebody that can go to a show and then you're trying to get in, you're trying to run out of the building to the car because you might have fans waiting outside, that he's totally pissed off inside, and you still get them, that's for sure.
Proper old school kind of Paul, heat, which I love that. Paul. I'll tell you what. So we did a show in Southend for WrestleForce,
right?
And it was Paul Robinson, and I can't remember who he was teaming with now. But I was against Hard Love, which was Johnny Love and Stefan Hard. And we was on this show, and everybody, the sound guy just kept getting everybody's music's on. So I'm dying inside. I'm getting really angry and things like that. So anyway, So we get to the ring. So I announced Paul Robinson, and I've known Paul for years. I love Paul. And so he gets in the ring. He gets right in my face, and he's like, "You should introduce me as the triple tag team champion. I'm the soul of wrestling." So I'm kind of playing up, going, "Hey, I'm just telling you what I've got written down," and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, he just whispers. He went, "Dude, you know I'm working you, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Fuck, did I look that scared?" Sorry, I just swore. Sorry. I was like, "Blimey, I must have looked that terrified." Yeah. And oh my God, he is one of those, again, going back to, playing wrestlers or being wrestler. He is that person.
Yeah, he's very good at it.
Paul is good at being Paul.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of the best wrestlers to have ever come out of this country in this generation, especially. Honestly, I love Paul.
Yeah, it's kind of cool for him, especially last year. I think he got a lot of rewards that has been building up for a long time, especially with the Proteus Championship. I know how much he prides that belt, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's nice because he's been around for so long. People forget that.
Yeah.
Although he's very much the mainstream at the moment. This guy's been working for a long old time, doing all the insane stuff that you see him doing today. If not, I'd say he's a little bit more maybe mellow than ever. But you never say never. Now with your obviously the commentating stuff, I've said this to people many times. I know a lot of people say, that'd be easy to do. I could easily sit and do that. But believe me, as somebody that was thrown into it once on a 2-hour notice, and I had absolutely no idea that I was going to be. And to be honest, when someone says that, I'm like, yeah, okay. And then you think about it more and I think, hang on a minute, there's a lot of moves here. I might not know them all. So they literally had me sat in front of the WWF SmackDown versus Raw game, I think it was, going through. Do you remember those custom bits in it where you can put all the moves on the wrestler?
Yeah.
Trying to go through all these different names. And I'm like, oh my God, none of this is going in. This is ridiculous. And yeah, when I got to it, I think it was an okay, but I never wanted to do it again. I can assure you, I was just happy doing the colour commentary on the side. That was where I was mainly comfortable with, just chirping in now and then. But
you know what, John? It's not always about the moves. Even as the straight guy, even as the straight guy, you don't have to call every move for move. It's all about telling the story.
It is, but still, it was intimidating. But I mean, it's a hard job, especially for guys. And I know there's a lot of guys that do solo commentary as well. And it's almost like your partner there is dead air, and you're trying to make up for that as well. But I mean, you've been very heavily praised to me in some of the stuff you've done, and I've been fortunate enough to listen to a lot of your stuff as well. What is it for you that how have you evolved that, and when did that point come for you where you felt really I've got it, I know what I'm doing? Did that take a while or was it quick? How did that all happen?
It probably took about the first few years.
Okay.
It was all about when I first heard my commentary back,
right,
and I hated it. Absolutely hated
yeah.
it. I remember, and the reason being was I can remember repeating the same things again and again, talking during. That's my biggest pet hate for commentators is if you're a commentator, if there's someone in the ring with the microphone in hands, keep quiet until he starts talking. It's nothing worse than hearing commentators talking while someone's in the ring trying to cut a promo. Slow down. That was one thing. That was another thing. I just felt like and try not to be anybody else. I think that was my other thing. I think I tried adding a bit of JR and a bit of Michael Cole to an extent.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Kent Walton as well from the World Sport era. I think he was like that old-fashioned kind of storyteller in the rocking chair. Made you feel so comfortable and made you feel so laid back and go, right, here we go. I think it was probably after I listened to my first few, and then I thought, right, this is what I got to do. And then I think it got to about 2012 was when I watched the show back. It was Invasion of the Body Slammers 2 for EWW, and I thought, I'm proud of that. Yeah. And then after that, we did a show for WrestleForce at the Playhouse, which had Charlie Rage versus Charlie Haas
Right.
in a steel cage, and I remember being really proud of listening to it back afterwards, and that was when I set a standard for myself. I like to be colourful and over the top, but you can't be that for every match, otherwise you're going to be irritating to the listener.
Sure.
You have your days where you have your off days, and not so great. Some days are better than others, but yeah.
Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I was going to say when you because I know for a lot of the British wrestling commentators, often you'll get tapes sent to you after it's done. How is your process to that? Because I know a lot of commentators are a lot different about this, but do you already pretty much know the results? What's going to happen? Do you sit there before you do it? How do you make it sort of sound authentic, if you will, when you're doing them, or do you not like to? So do you just go in completely cold?
The only thing I ask for is just the running order.
Right.
So what matches on what order?
Okay.
And that's all there is. I think one time I might have asked someone, okay, who's going over in this sort of thing, and they were like, dude, kayfabe.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, fair play. And I'm a big believer in that, actually, because if you're told what's going to happen in a certain angle, how are you supposed to be surprised? I like things to just come as natural. If there's something that I'm not meant to know, and my action is genuine, it's because I don't know. I think that's something really important. Like, there are some times where some people say, okay, so what's happening in this then? And you just go, just wait and see.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm kind of laid back, especially as I get older now. I've just asked for the running order. Is there anything that I need to know?
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. If not, take it as it comes, and it pays off usually, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no, I think I'd probably be the same. I'd do that exactly the same routine there. I could not imagine sitting through it once and then going over it again. It's almost like times, that we've done. I mean, when we first started out doing the podcast, myself and my co-host at the time, oh my God, there'd be so many times when we never hit the record button. And you've done about half an hour's worth of it, and you're like, oh my God, we've got to go back through it. And then you hear yourself and you're like, oh my God, sounds terrible. And I could imagine that being the same kind of dilemma for you guys when you get those tapes there. Is there anybody, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, but is there anybody that you get matches for, like particular wrestlers that you go, yes, I'm really excited to call his match or her match, and there's a real thing for it, like the transparency's there, the sort of blends in well with what you do, those good feelings. Is there anybody that stands out in your mind?
Yeah, there's a few, actually. First of all, I'm going to say Stu Allen, who's Dominator, because I'm not embarrassed to say this, but he's my idol. He's the reason why I got in the business, and as being a fan at such a young age, and now actually being in the company, that means a lot to me. So to know that Stu's actually retired now, but when he had a match going on, I felt an honour calling his matches, especially if it was with another a guy who had come up with him to say, like a Phil Bedwell or something like that. So it was July 2016, and it was Dominator and Philip Bateman inside of a steel cage. Right. And I thought, I've watched these two live since I was a young child, and I don't. That sounds, and to then be told, right, these two are going to face off each other, two legends of the company, inside of a steel cage for the title as well, and I'm going to be calling it. I thought, it doesn't get any better than that. And do you know what, though? It's not even just about things like that as well. That's another thing. Any British legend is one that, is an honour for me. It was so I do work for guys like Falling Star Wrestling as well. Yeah. And it was Matt Walters versus Danny Boy Collins for the Falling Star Championship. Well, it was just an honour to sit there and call a match for Danny Boy Collins, and the fact that, that even there, I mean, the match was only, I think it's about 2 years ago, I think the match was. and Danny can still go. Like I don't know how he does, how he